Pittsburgh Steelers 34.
Oh, now we're talking.
New York Jets 32. The Aaron Rodgers revenge tour has started.
Yep.
He hates everybody at the Jets organization, as he said after the game. Rodgers finishes 22 of 30 for 244, 4 touchdowns and no picks in his Pittsburgh Steelers debut. Of all the games, there were elements of this that I bought into, right? The Jets run game and Justin Fields as a runner. The part I didn't buy into was this one being a shootout because the Jets offense, they went toe-to-toe with the Steelers, and it was back and forth. I thought the Steelers defense they're a concern coming out of this. But the Jets hung tough. They are going to be feisty. They were up 9 in the second half, though. Fumbled a kickoff return to get the Steelers back into it. So both teams had a lot of chances, and it ended up being a Chris Boswell 60-yard field goal. That was the difference in this game.
I feel like the Jets, this was one that got away for the Jets. I feel like they probably should have won this game. They were in position to it. Like you said, they had the turnover that gave Pittsburgh a chance. It was a 60-yarder that gave them the lead. And then even right at the end, the Jets are driving to try and, answer. And then Jalen Ramsey comes up with, the play of the game effectively to end it. Just a massive hit on Garrett Wilson to knock the ball loose on 4th down, end the game right there. So a lot of things had to bounce Pittsburgh's way late in the game for them to be able to come out with this win. But fair play to them, they did. They made the plays when they mattered, and that's the difference between winning and losing a game. But I think you have to be impressed by both offenses overall. Maybe more impressed from the Jets' point of view because we expect the Steelers' defense to be better than the Jets' defense over the course of the season. But both offenses looked really good. Fields, look, it's one game, but this is the game where it's like, is there a leap forward to be had in Justin Fields' performance? This was the leap. Now, he's got to do it for more than 1 week, but he actually played well, not just as a runner and as a guy who can open up some things, but he was good passing the ball in this game.
Let's talk Fields for a minute then. Yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had a beautiful 33-yard pass to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown.
Which was great because it was simple. It was a simple one-on-one against, favorable coverage. But the point is he just saw it click through, right? There was no hesitation, no overthinking it. He just knew this is the route. I put the ball in the air. We score a touchdown. Simple.
I thought he was only sacked 1 time. And if, the criticisms of Justin Fields through the years, turning down open throws, being a little late getting through those reads and taking too many negative plays, taking too many sacks. He only got sacked 1 time. Thought he navigated the pocket well. He navigated the pocket to find completions, too. He didn't just navigate to run. He navigated to find completions a couple times. There was a couple key plays in there, including on 3rd down. So, the Jets' passing attack was impressive to me, especially for, again, we do a lot of here's the quarterback, here's the offensive line, here are the playmakers. And you try to say, does the quarterback have what he needs to succeed? You would never take this Jets group of pass catchers beyond Garrett Wilson and say, oh, yeah, of course, they're going to have an explosive passing attack. You'd say, hey, they need some better complementary pieces for Garrett Wilson. And I thought, Fields, by the way, finished 16 of 22 for 218, including that touchdown. So I thought he did a good job there and then did a nice job with his legs, designed run game. I thought Breece Hall looked outstanding. That was probably the quickest, most explosive I've seen from him in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
19 carries for 107. So we thought that might be the Jets' calling card, right? You've got Fields as a runner, you have Breece Hall as a runner. Maybe that opens things up, and there's elements of that the Jets leaned into, and it was impressive against Pittsburgh, who's supposed to have one of the fiercest pass rushes. Jalen Ramsey made 2 huge plays at the end, but other than that, the back 7 was not great for Pittsburgh in this one.
Yeah, Breece Hall looked back. He looked explosive again for the first time in a long time. Add Justin Fields to that, and suddenly, they didn't do much in the game, but Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis are factors as well in this offense. They both got carries at some point, and I think overall they're pretty good players. So the Jets' rushing attack should be really good this season. The fact that Garrett Wilson was dynamic and explosive, that's huge. And then if Justin Fields is able to continue this confidence as a passer, Mason Taylor made a play. This is an offense that can do some damage. Let's take a beat to give credit to that offensive line, though, particularly rookie Armand Menbu going up against T.J. Watt. Ryan Fowler on Twitter said, Jets rookie right tackle Armand Menbu pitched a shutout in his NFL debut. 26 pass protection snaps, 0 sacks, hurries, or quarterback pressures of any kind against TJ Watt effectively. It's not, every down, it's not 1-to-1 every single down, but a rookie offensive tackle effectively shut down TJ Watt. That's a pretty impressive performance.
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. The Jets' O-line was good. Olu Fashanu had some rough reps. He gave up the sack to Alex Highsmith. It was. I've always given Fashanu a ton of credit for being technically sound, but like when he's off from a technique standpoint, it's bad. Like he was way off on the Alex Highsmith sack, but there was a couple rough reps from Fashanu, but yeah, across the board it was really good for the Jets. Other side, Broderick Jones had similar ugly reps there for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers, though, finishes with the 4 touchdowns, the no interceptions. I think the big story here is not it's partially the stat line. I think the stat line does not encapsulate how well Rodgers played. I think the 4 touchdowns
As in Rodgers didn't play as well as the stat line?
He did not play as well as the stat line. I think it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter a ton. I think if you're a Steelers fan, I would be excited about this next point. 4 pretty open receivers for touchdowns. Ben Skoranek, wide open in the secondary. A tap pass for a touchdown. Jaylen Warren, wide open in the flat. And then the final touchdown, wide open behind the secondary. And I thought that was for Calvin Austin, where they used a little trickeration, moving him around. And I think Arthur Smith had a great game. I think Arthur Smith was scheming it up and creating a ton of open throws for Aaron Rodgers. They used DK Metcalf in a different way than we've generally seen DK Metcalf used in Seattle. He was used as an after the catch guy. He's taking shallow crosses, creating after the catch, takes a screen pass 30 yards. So I think Arthur Smith and some of the pass catchers had a really good game in Pittsburgh. I'll talk about Rodgers more in a second, but that was one of the big questions coming in. Could Rodgers play within someone else's system, especially this late in his career, in a whole new scheme with Arthur Smith? And I think early on, good returns for the pass game.
This was a really good combination, I think, where we saw a lot of Aaron Rodgers running the offense, right? Stuff that clearly isn't what Rodgers would call, but is Arthur Smith's offense. There was a lot of that, and a lot of it worked. And then you also saw moments in the game where they were kind of like, you know what, just go up there and shotgun and call what you like, right? Or figure it out, right? It was a good mix, I think, of them working together where Rodgers, it was a compromise. Rodgers seemed perfectly prepared to run the offense most of the time, and there were situational points in the game where Arthur Smith seemed perfectly happy to turn it over to Rodgers and let them work in combination. And if that's the way that works all the way through the year, that's huge. I mean, that was maybe the biggest question going into this is, will Rodgers work with an offensive coach and allow himself to be subsumed into the offense a bit? Or does he have to be like, look, I'm Aaron Rodgers, you brought me here to run this thing, hands off and let me do it? At least in this game, there was evidence that Rodgers is prepared to do things the way Arthur Smith wants them done, not the way Aaron wants them done the whole time. And that, I think, is massive.
Yeah, so I put this out there last night, and we've spent a lot of our careers saying, hey, look at this QB stat line. This guy was better or worse than the stat line. I think it's worth pointing out here. The 4 touchdowns, I think it was well schemed up. The 4 touchdowns, including one's a tap pass. That's essentially a run play, so we know that. I'm just saying don't get caught up in the 4 touchdowns and no picks.
He also threw the ball directly to Brandon Stevens, who for some reason decided to fall down rather than catch it.
There were 2. There was one, I don't know what happened. There was one over the middle of the field that he threw right to a defender. Don't know what happened on that route. And then the second one I think was more concerning because when you're watching a 40-year-old quarterback, it's
under pressure. Yeah.
Right, it's how do they handle pressure. He got sacked 4 times. He wasn't really breaking free from pressure. I don't think that's going to be his thing this year. There's no denying the arm and the arm talent and what Aaron Rodgers still has. It's going to be the mobility and his ability to handle pressure. But it was a panic throw under pressure thrown right to a defender where he fell down. Again, I think his QBR was average. I don't know where the PFF grade ends up or whatever it is. I'm just telling you, when you have 2 gimme touchdowns on the goal line in particular and 2 dropped interceptions, the stat line flips in a hurry with those. And I'm bringing perspective to that. I think it bodes well for Pittsburgh, though, because I think Rodgers will actually play better in the fact that you do have Ben Skoranek running through the defense and you do have some open throws, I think is a good sign for what Pittsburgh could do offensively. Or maybe the Jets defense, other than Sauce Gardner, is awful because they were picking on Brandon Stevens, which, we saw last year with Baltimore when Stevens was there as well.
Yeah, the fact that the offense generally was functioning was a really important thing. Calvin Austin, I think, was a really encouraging thing for Pittsburgh in this game. Like, we've been wondering, okay, deployment of DK Metcalf, number one, pretty interesting thing. That looks like it could be a really good thing for them. Number two, we've been wondering, outside of DK, who's going to be a receiver for Aaron Rodgers? Does he have anybody else? Is this good enough? Well, Calvin Austin all of a sudden emerges as like a dynamic threat. Undersized receiver, but the dude is fast. He's explosive. He can make plays. He's not bad at the catch point either. If Rodgers, for some reason, decides to take a shine to Calvin Austin, it's like, that's a guy I really trust. I'm going to feed him the football. I think that would be a huge thing for Pittsburgh. The one concern I would have is, so that play, the should have been interception to Brandon Stevens, where he's kind of under pressure, throws it away. There's a guy behind Brandon Stevens on the sideline. He just never really had a shot to get the ball there. Bad throw, should have been picked off. That's a concern because that's a repeatable play in terms of, look, the Rodgers at his age, the thing that he's going to struggle with now is escapability. And number two, that was the last of a series of plays where Broderick Jones at left tackle just got his ass handed to him by Will McDonald. Broderick Jones is going to be a problem for this offense all the way through the season, and that problem is going to produce plays like that, which is like the one area where Rodgers at his current 40-plus-year-old self is not Aaron Rodgers. So that's the one, the area. There's a lot of areas of optimism for the Steelers offense. The one area of concern is their left tackle's a turnstile, and Rodgers can't have that at this point in his career.
All right, man, Steelers get the win, 34-32. By the way, here's the other part of it. I mean, there was a lot of bounces of the ball in this. On the game-winning drive, I thought Rodgers, he had 2 game-winning drive attempts. I thought he was forcing passes, and but to set up the 60-yarder, he just kind of chucked it down the field. He had a chance to maybe take something underneath, get into field goal, make it an easier field goal. He didn't. Chris Boswell kicks the 60-yarder to win it, and you also had
from a mile further, by the way.
Yes, and you also had the pass before that got tipped 3 times and landed in DK Metcalf's hands for a first down to set it up, right? So I didn't think the game management was great from Rodgers down the stretch, but he got bailed out by a 60-yard field goal. I did it. It's week 1. I'm already pissing off Steelers fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Be encouraged, Steelers fans, that the offense could put up that many points with getting away with some stuff. I would be a little concerned about the defense, but look, I think they should be much better on paper going forward.
They should. Their defense didn't play well at all. The secondary in particular got kind of wrecked. One last interesting thing from this game for me, Sauce Gardner was tracking DK Metcalf. He hadn't done that in his career, basically, up until this point. He's apparently been agitating for it for a while. Like, all these corners want to be like, no, let me track the guy. Now, it was funny because, on the one hand, he was tracking him. On the other hand, DK had a bunch of plays, half of which weren't against Sauce Gardner. So it's like, at what point is that irrelevant? I'm tracking him, but I'm still not. It's still zone coverage. I'm not actually covering him necessarily on this play. You know what I mean? It's slightly weird. But anyway, they are using Sauce Gardner as a true number one.
And he was good.
Shadow corner.
In that role, the DK dropped one on a shallow, I think, right? And then Sauce broke up a couple passes in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other side was an issue for the Jets.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?